Hello and welcome to Views on News. I am Jawad Tehami. Pakistan's Prime Minister Shehbaz Sharif has assured the Chinese ambassador in Pakistan, Mr. Jiang Zhaidong, that he will personally oversee the investigation into the terrorist incident near the Karachi airport, which claimed the lives of two Chinese nationals. The Prime Minister also visited the Chinese embassy and also at that particular moment said, let me quote, "Protection of life and property of our Chinese brothers in Pakistan is our first priority," unquote. Chinese ambassador at that particular moment expressed his gratitude to the Pakistani authorities for the immediate response. We have also seen a statement coming from Pakistan's Foreign Office spokesperson saying, let me quote, "The deplorable act of terrorism is an attack not only on Pakistan but also on the enduring friendship between Pakistan and China. We remain resolute in bringing to justice those responsible for this cowardly attack, including the Majid Brigade," unquote. The Foreign Office has also at the same time urged the interim Afghan authorities, the Afghan Taliban, to focus on fighting the terrorist groups which are posing a threat to not only Afghanistan but also the neighboring countries, also threatening the regional peace and security. For a fact, we know that since 2021 there has been a resurgence of terrorism here in Pakistan after the Kabul takeover by the Afghan authorities. Multiple terrorist groups having safe havens over there which haven't been taken a concrete action against by the interim Afghan authorities. The Pakistani authorities have been urging repeatedly to Afghan authorities to take a concrete and a decisive action against those militant outfits. But there has been a pattern of denials on the part of the interim Afghan authorities. Why so? And looking at this particular critical juncture, in this particular year, this is the second incident that has happened targeting the Chinese nationals. We have seen a resolute response by the Pakistani authorities in order to ensure the protection and the safety and the security of the Chinese nationals, projects and institutions here in Pakistan. At the same time, we have seen Pakistani security forces, the law enforcement agencies being very much vigilant and waging a war against this menace of terrorism in order to protect the motherland. To talk about this important pressing issue, we are honored to be joined in the studio by Mr. Air Marshal retired Saeed Mohammed Khan, senior analyst. Mr. Saeed Mohammed Khan, thank you very much for your time, for being with us on the show tonight. Really appreciate that. Now, we have seen since the takeover of Kabul back in 2021, there's been a resurgence of terrorism here in Pakistan. Heinous terrorist attacks have been carried. This particular attack targeting the Chinese national, this is second bigger attack in this particular year. What do you think is the aim of this? We have seen the statements coming from the Pakistani authorities. It is actually aimed at damaging that very enduring, the historic, the brotherly relation between Pakistan and China. Who gets the benefit from this particular?
The enemies of Pakistan, without any doubt. Whether those enemies are on our eastern border or they are in the west. It is the enemies of Pakistan that benefit out of this chaos which they are trying to create in Pakistan. Since Pakistan became a nuclear power, the way I look at it, since Pakistan became a nuclear power, they have always been trying to destabilize Pakistan so that Pakistan does not become strong enough to become the leader of the Islamic Ummah. And for that they have been, they initially tried to militarily downgrade Pakistan. But when they realized that Pakistani defense forces were too strong for them to downgrade and the money that they had to spend to do that was phenomenal, they took support of the technology, and through the fifth generation warfare they tried to implode the Pakistani society from within. Like you mentioned, 2021, by 2021 the Balochistan Liberation Army, which has taken responsibility for the Chinese attack just 2 days ago, had actually weakened. Though their number of attacks on Pakistan had doubled in 2021, but the amount of damage they had done was less. But after that, we see that they have better weapons, they are better trained, they are better protected, and they are better monetarily supported. Because Balochistan is a province where the youngsters are not very well, they do not have they do not have jobs and other facilities. They become a pawn in the hands of the terrorists, which offer them good money. This is definitely a direction the government of Pakistan must look into, providing job opportunities and financial benefits to the people of Balochistan. But BLA and our enemies are trying to gain advantage because of the situation over there, and now we see youngsters, university children becoming attackers as well as suicide bombers.
So these very important points that you've already mentioned, that BLA is specifically talking about it, they've been monetarily supported. They have got the better weapons
now.
They've got the better training also. So this particular aspect of being supported monetarily, where do you identify that provenance of it?
Because you, let's say, through the intelligence outfits, you come to know the money, that the amount of money they are trying to, spend within Balochistan for forwarding their or taking forward their objectives. Similarly, you can't have better weapons if you don't have more money. But if you look from a strategic point of view, the enemies of Pakistan are actually spending 1/100th of what they would have spent if they wanted to take Pakistan on militarily. They are spending 1/100th less money on Pakistan, but they are getting better results. So this is where I think as Pakistanis we must rethink our strategy. We need to re-engage with our people, both at the on the political front, but definitely when we sit on the negotiating table, we should sit from a position of strength.
So when we talk about the position of strength, what could be the possible contours of that particular negotiation? If you are suggesting that talking from a position of strength, how could that be done?
You see, at this very moment, CPEC is a game changer for Pakistan, and it's a game changer for the area itself. If we have the CPEC functional, if we have Gwadar, up as a very operational port, then all the countries of the region tend to benefit out of it. When they tend to benefit out of it, China, Afghanistan, Uzbekistan, all the countries that are landlocked, then the Pakistan definitely gets benefited out of it. The way I am seeing at it, CPEC is not only a road, it is a commercial 1800 miles long commercial area, where there are going to be factories, where there are going to be power plants, where there are going to be military cantonments. So, we have a lot of activity along that road. Now, if you have strategically a road which is going from north to south, west of River Indus, then that gives you great tactical advantage over your enemies if they attack from the south, from the east. So that is where I think the enemies do not want us to, go full bore onto CPEC, and that is why they are trying to create all these troubles. They may create troubles politically, they may create troubles militarily, but this is a game which is being played by them, and we as a country have to, now play on our, let's say, front foot. We just cannot take it.
So playing on the front foot, we have also seen for a fact that most recently, after the resurgence of this particular menace, again here in Pakistan, there was a launch of that very resolve to stability, the vision Azm-e-Istehkam. I'll come back to you. What could be the contours of that particular thing? We know the vigilance on the part of the security forces personnel over here, the law enforcement agencies also rendering their services to protect the motherland from this particular menace. I'll come back to you, that how that particular the IBO based resolve to stability could be actually implemented and the dividends out of it could be garnered. Let me bring in another participant in the show, Mr. Hassan Khan, senior analyst. Mr. Hassan Khan, thank you very much for your time, also for being with us on the show tonight. Really appreciate that. We'll look at this second major incident in which the Chinese personnel have been targeted. Who benefits from this particular heinous attack?
Look, Tehami, I think this is a most heinous crime and an attack. And I think look at the situation in Pakistan at the moment. When your economy is getting stabilized, when gradually the economic those who were predicting Pakistan's economic meltdown or default, I think they are now facing it at their face that. Pakistan's economy is now on the track, on a positive trajectory. On the other hand, next week, Pakistan is going to hold a very important international conference, Shanghai Cooperation Council, heads of government. So very important countries of the regions, they will be gathering in Islamabad. Definitely, they will be talking about the regional security situation, but it is
Unfortunately, I think we've lost the connection with Mr. Hassan Khan. We'll try to reconnect with him. As soon as we reconnect with him, we'll take the view he was already putting forth. Mr. Saeed Mohammed Khan, when we talk about this particular support in terms of monetary terms, is there any sort of a mechanism that Pakistani authorities can actually follow internationally in order to impress upon the international community that this particular flow of funding is happening to the banned militant outfits?
Yes, definitely. But it can be taken up diplomatically with the big powers, and it should be done. And I'm sure the government of Pakistan is already doing it. But the most of the organizations who are creating trouble in Pakistan are based in Afghanistan, and there is very little that international bigwigs can actually do something over there. The money which moves to these outfits does not move through banking sectors or other things. It moves from bag to bag or end to end. So I think
there are certain mechanisms, but that can that are designed to address money laundering.
Yes.
Or terror financing?
I think terror financing and money laundering, yes, but money laundering can only be controlled if it is done through the banking sector. Right. But this money doesn't go through the banking sector. There are no traces that are left. So unfortunately, not much can be done legally. But yes, we need to take up these organizations.
What about Financial Action Task Force?
I would actually like to, take up the point which Mr. Hassan was trying to make, and I think it was correct. You see, the enemies of Pakistan want us to implode from inside. When that is the case, then what they are actually wanting to do us, they want to ensure that we remain politically unstable, and because of being politically unstable, our economy should go down the drain, which actually it has in the last 5-6 years. And then we see that we are going, we came to a stage where we were going to default, but because of the SIFC and the present government and the military, they took some corrective actions, and alhamdulillah today the economy is up again on the surge. Now when they realize that they have failed on the political front, now what they are trying is that they want to create these occasions where the people are afraid to come into Pakistan and bring money into Pakistan, and that is why we see a upsurge in these terrorist activities. I think that the government of Pakistan must immediately give a free hand to the security forces to tackle these terrorist organizations, but also equally importantly is that the people of Balochistan and Khyber Pakhtunkhwa and FATA must be engaged politically to resolve this issue.
Right. Right. So what about the Financial Action Task Force? When you talk about addressing this particular issue of terror financing and money laundering, of course, you made a very important point that if it can be checked once it is being done through the proper banking channels, but if it is not being done through that particular thing, so it's quite a challenge now. But there is a kind of a responsibility this particular organization, Financial Action Task Force, has got to play. Is there anything Pakistan can take this particular issue at the Financial Action Task Force by identifying where that particular funding is taking place from?
If we can find the source, yes, we can. But I think a more effective way would be to engage the government of Afghanistan directly on this issue. Most of the organizations like TTP or BLA, you know, those who are claiming for all the disturbances in Pakistan are basically based in Afghanistan. If the government of Afghanistan, you know, agrees with us, we can give them proof that, you know, it is their country which is being used against us. Then I'm sure they can, within Afghanistan, you know, put barriers on them to ensure that they do not create unrest in Pakistan.
But if you, Saeed Khan, there's been a lot of talk that has already happened as to what happens to be the responsibility of the interim Afghan authorities, the Afghan Taliban. It's been 3 years now. They made an international commitment in the Doha Accord that they won't let the Afghan soil to be used against any other country. Pakistani authorities not once, on a number of times, with irrefutable evidence, have gone to the interim Afghan authorities, telling them, identifying which militant outfits and the terrorist organizations were using Afghanistan soil in order to perpetrate those heinous attacks here in Pakistan. Despite that, there has been a pattern of denial on part of the Afghan Taliban. Do you still think there could be any positive response on the part of the interim Afghan authorities as far as alleviating Pakistan's concerns is concerned?
Unfortunately, that is, in my view, the only way forward. We have to keep engaging them. We have to keep giving them proof that it is their land that is being used against us. And we must make it very clear to them that, you know, through history and through logic, that those organizations which are today against us will tomorrow be creating the same unrest on their own territory also. When the python becomes too big, it turns inside and
But do you think there could be a realization with them on this particular front? Because there are multiple international reports, especially under the auspices of the United Nations, that point to the fact that there has been a support on the part of the interim Afghan authorities to these militant groups, especially when we talk about the banned Tehrik-e-Taliban Pakistan, the Fitna al-Khawarij.
I fully agree with you principally that what the point you are trying to make is correct. But you know, what are the options for Pakistan? You know, we can only talk to our friends like the Gulf states, like Qatar, like UAE, those who have influence over the Afghan government, or we talk directly to the Afghan government and tell them that they should control these forces.
Right.
We should also ensure that, you know, we have to trust our security outfits, you know, our military and counter-terrorism agencies, and give them a free hand to take out these people.
Point well taken. Also, you mentioned of the friendly countries, taking them into confidence on this particular thing. I'll come back to you, take your understanding. The SCO moot is going to be held here in Pakistan. How Pakistani authorities can utilize that particular forum in order to impress the regional countries in particular, especially the neighboring countries of Afghanistan, in order to impress upon the interim Afghan authorities to fulfill their international obligation. Quickly towards Mr. Hassan Khan joining us on the phone line. Mr. Hassan Khan, please go ahead. Please complete your earlier thought where you left.
Yeah, so Tehami, I was just mentioning that that these enemies are targeting Pakistan at a moment when Pakistan economy is getting better, when Pakistan international image is getting better, when Pakistan is getting involved with the international community. You know, tomorrow a very huge delegation of Saudi Arabia is visiting Pakistan for investment purposes. You know, and the region, Pakistan is playing a very crucial role gradually in the region. So the same is for the CPEC. Now this is sometime I see that it's not just the BLA, it's not just the Majid Brigade, it's not just the TTP,
which are, because such a sophisticated attacks, the way they are conducting the attacks, the way they are selecting the target. So I think they know it very well. And somebody big, somebody huge, there seems to be certain states involved, financing these people, giving training to these people, sustaining them, providing recruits to them, giving them access to the social media, digital media. There also, I think, there is no dearth of anything for them. So Pakistan need to, I think, this is a big challenge for Pakistan, and especially it's very unfortunate at the moment when the people of Pakistan are going to take a sigh of relief within a year or two. The prices are coming down, inflation is going down, etc. Economy is getting better, so you will get more employment opportunities. But unfortunately, you have Afghanistan, it's the neighbor, and Afghanistan for me is just a black hole. And it's too difficult for somebody to operate or to do something in a black hole. So at the moment, Afghanistan, there is no what we call it an authority which is a responsible one. However, for Pakistan, I think Pakistan need to take it as an proverbial albatross, whether you like it or not. But you have to carry it. This baggage, we call it, this weight. Whether it is a dead weight or whether it is a live weight, so you have to carry it. And I think I agree with the Marshal that Pakistan need to engage other, especially the friendly countries, including Afghanistan directly, because this treaty, which the counter terrorism efforts which Pakistan is doing, I think at the moment we are focusing too much on the security front. I will suggest, I think, to my government that yes, security is a very important front, and where you have to handle it, especially the day-to-day things which are happening around. But for addressing this terrorism, the issue of terrorism, I think other tools, which we call it the counter-terror tool, need to be deployed, employed. Particularly on the diplomatic front, you have to make vigorously the diplomatic efforts at various countries to politically. I think we also need to be a bit active at the moment. Our parliament needs to be engaged in it. The civil society needs to be engaged in it. The religious elites, the religious clergy, they need to be engaged in it.
Mr. Hassan Khan, unfortunately, we are short of time. A very quick take regarding as to the sources of this particular funding to these terrorist organizations, the banned militant outfits. After identification, do you think, is there anything substantial that Pakistan can see from Financial Action Task Force when it comes to this money laundering and terror financing?
To be honest, Tehami, I see even those countries are involved, seems to be involved in financing these terror syndicates in Afghanistan, which are too much influential. I think whether it is our neighbors, immediate neighbors, whether it is the faraway countries, you know, we are too much close to the Chinese, to the government of China, Pakistan and Chinese are too close to each other. And you know, Chinese have attracted certain forces and who are negatively working to reduce the Chinese influence in the region. So you have to take too many things into considerations. Whether it is your eastern neighbors, its role in it, whether the enemies of whether those who are against the Chinese influence, the growing influence in the region and in the faraway world. So I think Pakistan's need to be a bit observe passions, what we call it a strategic passions, and also engage the international community in it. And for that, you need a very strong, robust, active diplomatic corps.
Your point is well taken, Mr. Hassan Khan, senior analyst, joining us on phone line. Thank you very much for being with us on the show tonight. Really appreciate that. In the studio, Mr. Air Marshal, retired Saeed Mohammed Khan, senior analyst. Thank you very much for your time also for being with us on the show tonight. We really appreciate that. With that, we come to the end of today's episode. Till the next one, take good care of yourselves.